Is it still on? Okay. Hi, I'm Chloe Lucas. I think that most of you know me. I was raised in council. I graduated from here in 2011. I went up to U of I to earn my teaching degree, and I came right back. I did my student teaching here, and I did 8 years as a high school English teacher before I had twin boys 2 springs ago. And then we decided it was probably a good idea to stay home with all 4 of our kids. It's busy, don't worry, I'm still busy. But then teaching is my dream job, and I love it, and I miss it, and so I'm still very involved in the school. Currently I'm running their social media and editing their website for them. There are a lot of ways that I stay involved on the strategic planning committee. I really care about the school, and I want it to be a good place. I know that there are, our school right now is not where we want it to be. I want it to be better for my kids, for your grandkids. I want it to be a good place that we are proud of and that our children can get a valuable education from and be prepared to move on into the world and whatever they're pursuing, they're prepared for that. And they're good people, right? That's our ultimate goal. If you read anything that I put out, I already have ideas all the time of what can be done to improve. I don't want to take too much time, but if you ask me questions, I want your questions. I love to talk about school. I love to talk about possibilities, what we could do to improve and to make our education tailored to fit our unique students and our unique area, and what we can do to attract and retain qualified staff who can help foster a great education. But most importantly, I think that we need to build a bridge between the school and the community. That bridge kind of burned down over the last several years, and so I know that things are already in the works to start improving that, which is why I'm helping with social media, why we're improving the website. But there's still a long ways to go, and I think that I can help with that. So I would like to be, a representative of the families, the community, the students, and even the staff who need their voices heard, who have ideas of what we could be doing to improve things, because I think those voices are the most important voices. That's who we need to be listening to. So I'll turn it over to Earl, and then I would love to hear some questions. Thank you.
Well, I'm not a great public speaker, but we'll go for it. I'm Earl Henderson. I was born here. I've lived here every day of my life. I went through these schools. My kids went through these schools. I have a mom and a sister that retired from teaching here. My mom served several years on the school board. So I'm following in her footsteps. I've been very active in the community as far as I've served on the rodeo board, the fair board. I'm on the TAC committee for the FFA. I've been on the school board for about 1.5 years now. Not going to say it's the most glamorous job in the world, but it's something neat. And people ask me, why do I do what I do? Because I care about kids, and somebody did it for me. And that's one of the things nowadays is a lot of people don't step up and take responsibility for what needs to happen. The school has been a little bit of turmoil over the years. We understand that. It's going to take time to bring it back to what we want it to be. We have made some very, very much improvements in the last 1.5 years as far as I've been concerned. I just want to be there to make it a better place. Like I say, I do it for the kids. I want to retain good staff, and I always have the philosophy that if we have good staff, the kids will be taken care of. And that's kind of my deal on here. I would love to keep continuing to serve on this board. It's a pleasure at times. It's a lot of work at times. But I want to keep doing it. I thank you.
Thank you very much, both of you. Do we have any questions from the audience? Feel free to just raise up your hand and for either Ms. Lucas or Mr. Henderson?
What the hell?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm Tina. I have a question for both the candidates. I'm just waiting for my husband to pull something up on his.
Notes.
Okay. Hi. So, and I think this is a kind of a general statement, and then for both of you. I saw a Facebook post on October 18th. I don't have kids in the school. I want to make that very clear. My children are grown, and grandkids are not living in this area, so I don't have any children in the school. This was from October 18th, and it was from Mr. Fontana, the Council Elementary School principal, and this was on Facebook. Dear Council community members, I'm reaching out to let you know that Council Elementary School has been identified as a CSI Up, Continuous Support and Improvement Underperforming School by the Idaho Department of Education. Our staff are working diligently in partnership with Idaho Department of Education and Boise State University Center for School and Community Partnerships on school improvements. I will provide our Board of Trustees with an update at each of our monthly school board meetings. And then it basically says to check out the website for more information. Feel free to reach out with any questions. And I guess my question is, how is this possible in this day and age that our children are performing so poorly in this community? I'm shocked that such a small community with this small school, that these children are performing so poorly. And it's 2025. And I'd just like to ask each of you for your thoughts on that, and what do you think we're going to be able to do to fix it? Not 5 years down the road, but this school year, what are we doing? Because this is very important.
Thank you. So the question was about how to fix and what we can do about this CSI school and what we're going to do to fix it in the future, and why are we in this situation?
I'll address that a little bit. Part of the problem with this is this information is based on the ISAT testing. And ISAT testing is not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I did it when I was a kid. Kids do it again today. You have 4 answers. Kids get tired of taking tests. They just start marking bows. And so it's not a true picture of where things are. It's the best that we have at the moment, and so we have to work with it. We are fostering this Boise State to pick this up, get some help. The board's already on it. We know about it, and we're working to do what we need to do to fix the problem. Some teachers need a little help, and I think they're getting the help from Mr. Fontana. He's doing a wonderful job. And I think by the end of this year, you will see some much improvement.
I agree with Mr. Henderson that taking a snapshot of a test score really isn't the full picture of the student, but I do think they're concerning, given our trend that's low and are headed downhill. It is definitely something we need to turn around. Being identified as one of these schools actually comes with resources. As Mr. Henderson mentioned, they are bringing in training. We get some funding. There are some things that this is kind of a blessing in disguise because we get the help we need. If I were to pinpoint an issue that is maybe causing this, I would say it's turnover in our staff. It's been very tumultuous at CSD for the last few years, and students pick up on that. And when they don't have the consistency, when teachers aren't trained in the curriculum, kids fall through the gaps, and it's unfortunate. So I hope that we'll see results right away. This is a 3-year partnership because of this identification that we've had, so hopefully it'll immediately start improving, and then further down the road it will continue to improve. But what you expressed is exactly a sentiment that I've expressed in staff meetings. This is just 1 year in these teachers' careers, but it's the only 3rd grade that a student will ever have. And so if we're not doing our best, they don't get to do 3rd grade again unless we make them do 3rd grade again. But they don't get another shot at that, and that's their 1 year. And if they miss crucial learning there, then it can be devastating for the rest of their academic career. So I appreciate your concern.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yes.
I just wonder how the music program is going.
She was wondering how the music program is going. How the music program is going.
Don't just say good.
I'm going to have to say I'm a little bit ignorant on this subject because I haven't heard anything bad, but we have not gotten reports as far as the board. And we were trained as a board. We had training come up from the state. We trained our boards a couple of times in the last year. We were told not to spend a lot of time at the school. That was not the place for the board to be. And so I have to say I haven't been there to see the program. I haven't heard anything negative. And so that's the best I can answer the question.
Well, I just appreciate that we now have one.
Yes, I am very thankful that we do have that.
Will you guys do that?
Thank you for bringing up the music program. I think, you know, the more enriching we can do for our students, the better. The more variety we can offer for them, the better. I don't have a child in the music program right now, so I don't know from personal experience, but from speaking to other parents, I know that it's been a wonderful addition to their child's education. I hope to see it continue and grow.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Why are there so many residents in town with children that are using home care instead of the school?
You mean
Homeschool?
Yeah, homeschool.
Why are there so many residents that are homeschooling instead of using the school? That is a great question.
That's a good question, and thank you. There's a lot of reasons. To be blunt, there's a lot of parents that think it's an easier way to get their kids an education. They don't have to get them out of bed in the morning to go to school. COVID did this to us a few years ago. They realized how easy it was for a kid to be able to stay home and get an education. The governor didn't help us this last year either when he decided to give all these parents a $5,000 deal to put their kids in alternative schools or online schooling instead of going to public schools. And that's one of our biggest problems right now is funding for public schools. Because of these things, every time a kid checks out of school, we lose funding because we get paid by how many people are in the desk. And so there's many, many, many reasons why. Some kids, it's easier for the parents because they work. I could go on and on about reasons. Exactly why, I can't tell you. They all have their own reasons.
I would agree with that it's very situationally dependent on the family, the student, the child. And I think it's different depending on the age of the child. High school students might have different reasons than elementary students for choosing to be homeschooled. Overall, in general, I would say the flexibility provided by homeschooling is appealing. As a former high school teacher, I know we lost a lot of students who wanted to work and they couldn't hold down a job and be at school for the same hours of the day. That's one of the reasons why I would really like to look at our system because we are such a small rural district and we want our students to get the working experience. And so maybe there's a way we could create a little more flexibility in the traditional schooling path that would allow our students some of those other experiences that they could get outside of school. Maybe they could get credits for having a job so they could spend their afternoons at work instead of in the school building and they would still be learning valuable. There are a lot of potential solutions, I think, that could maybe attract some of those students who we've lost in recent years and bring them back into the district.
Who else has a question? Tina.
I have another one, sorry. One is just a thought. I would hope that going forward, both of you, whoever is elected to the position, would think about how do we bring those families back to school, because many of those kids, they're out all day playing in town. They're not even in school, and their parents are doing God knows what, and we're losing that revenue that our community needs for our schools. So I would think there would be some kind of program that needs to be developed to bring those people back, and then to get those kids caught up, because there's no way they're on the same performance level that these children that are going to school every day and are disciplined enough to actually be taught and do that work. I think that has huge impact on our community. The other question I have for you again is I've heard a lot of talk about a new math program. I think it's called CPM. And I don't know if that's something that we are doing here in the district. I looked it up online and it looks like everything's in groups and so very non-traditional. And I wanted to just ask you, is that something that we are teaching here, and if so, did we miss a presentation to the community on that, or kind of just the status of that?
Okay, there were two questions. One is how we can bring back homeschoolers into the school district, and the other was about a new math program, and are we teaching that here at our school, and is there any plans to educate the community on that, I believe, correct?
Yes, thank you.
As far as trying to bring some kids back, we just started a program that I am a member of, and I can't tell you the exact name of it. It's a coalition. It's called the YAC. It's a benefit, trying to find places, things for these kids to do, to try to bring them all back together, and eventually hope it will bring the kids back into the group. It also focuses on the mental health of kids, trying to stop some of the mental health problems we're having with kids today.
Right.
That's the big one that's going on right now. We just had a meeting the other night. We have people come up from Boise State that's training us to do this, and showing us the ropes. Robin Warner, who is one of our teachers, she's kind of the head deal here on it. And it's going to be a really good program. It's going to take some time to get it all into effect, but we're going to try to figure out different club groups, after-school activities, something that will bring these outside kids back to the kids that are in school, and hopefully we can draw them all back in and have them go to school again. As far as the math program, yes, I'm not a math guy. We questioned the math program a year ago because we had a lot of complaints from parents that the kids weren't, the high achieving kids were doing really well in it. The low achieving kids weren't doing as well because they weren't getting quite we didn't feel like the guidance that they needed to do well. And we had to leave it in. The state requires that you have a math program that's approved by the state. The math teacher, the superintendent, the administration, I think there was actually some people from the community involved in the process of choosing the program that they wanted. We actually almost tried to do away with it because of the complaints and things we had. Part of the reason we kept it was the administration and the professionals thought it was a good program. I'm not going to try to talk to professionals. I don't know. I'm not a math guy. I mean, I can do math, but to judge a math program is not my profession. And so we left it in, and partly because of funding, because to buy this math program is thousands and thousands of dollars. And to do away with it, we would have to get a different program, which we wouldn't get our money back, but we'd have to spend that money again. And the money's not there these days to be doing those kind of things. And so we're supposed to be doing some testing on it, some data to bring to the board here in the near future to show how the kids are doing with the program, and we're waiting to see where that goes, and then we'll make a decision for the board.
Thank you.
So to address the first part of your question about bringing students back into the school, I think those things that I mentioned originally, building that bridge with the community and making this a place where people want to be is the best thing we can do. And the coalition that Mr. Henderson was mentioning is a great step in that direction. It's great to, show our students and our families that we actually care about these kids, not just their butts and seats to get us money, right? We care about who they are as people and how they're going to turn out. So I think the more of that, the better. To address the math curriculum, I taught alongside the math teacher, and when they adopted this curriculum, she went and watched it happen in several schools, watched it in action. When any curriculum is adopted, there are public meetings. So this was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the third. Yeah, this is the third year.
That's what I was thinking. It was year 3. So when they were thinking of adopting it, there were community meetings where people could chime in if they'd done some research for or against. And then I think that, as Mr. Henderson mentioned, there's a list of approved curriculums that the state puts out, and this is one of the top ranking ones Another board member, Mr. Mendenhall, was part of the selection process because he was a math teacher, and so he would have more information about that. I think that the board is always, the job of the board is to be receptive. So if parents are, saying, hey, we have issues with this isn't working for our student, that's the best thing that can happen as parents. But as Mr. Henderson mentioned, that has to balance with finances, which is unfortunate that has to be something that we're worried about. And there typically is a rotation of curriculum. So 1 year it's English curriculum, another year it's math curriculum, just because it is thousands of dollars to purchase, and then also you have to train your teachers in how to effectively use the curriculum with students. So I don't know that change happens quickly in the curriculum world, but as long as people are aware, if these parents are expressing their concerns, that's the best thing. That's the best place to start, because then we can move forward with that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's, maybe one more question? And for these two candidates, and then maybe we'll move on to the mayoral.
I just have one more question to follow up to her question. Mr. Henderson, since you're currently in position, has there been a direct correlation between students leaving the school as a result of the math curriculum over parental concerns?
Has there been a direct correlation between students leaving the school and the math curriculum?
As a result of this math curriculum, the CPM?
No, not that I'm aware of, strictly for the math, no. There's been other reasons, but no, the math is not as far as I'm aware, that we've been told that the math had anything to do with kids.
Thank you.
Did you want to comment on that as well? That was a quick one. Anyone else have a question before we move on? Yes.
What do you see as the number one priority for the school district moving forward?
What do you see as the number one priority for the school district moving forward?
Well, the number one priority right now is funding, but because we need the funding to retain better staff. You can go to either side of the state, into the next state on either side, and the pay is very much higher, so it's hard to retain or get real quality teachers. I think right now we have a pretty good set of teachers. I think they're doing a pretty good job for the most part. There's some that need some help. We are getting them that help, but right now our biggest challenge is funding. It's something that's going to take some real serious looking at in the next few years, if not by next year.
I would say that the priority, it's all connected, right? So if we can get community support, if we can walk side by side with the community, if we can set goals that the community and the school are working to achieve, then we bring more students in, then we get more funding, then we retain the staff that is there to provide those strong programs and, a strong education. And so I think that the priority is getting on the same page.
Thank you both very much. I think that about wrap us up for here. And then, do you have anything else you wanted to mention before we close this for these two? No? You both good? Okay. Thank you very much. Let's give them both a round of applause. And now let's welcome up to the stage our mayoral candidates, our current mayor, Dr. Bruce Gardner, and Gabe Wilson.
Just one note about the mayoral race that I forgot to mention earlier. There was another candidate for the race, Charles Henderson. He has withdrawn. However, you will see his name on the ballot. But he has stated he is withdrawn. Just want to make that clear. We'll turn it over to the candidates now to make their statements, make a plug, and we'll open up for questions.
All right, so I'm Gabe Wilson. Some of you know me out there as Melvin. My legal name, but go by Gabe. It's easier that way. I was born and raised here in council. Not really born. The hospital at the time was closed, so I was born in McCall, but I claimed council. Graduate council high school. I joined the Navy right out of high school at 17. So I was in the Navy, active duty for 4 years, and then I served another 11 years in the reserves. Also working locally and around the state doing construction and other things. Lived pretty much my whole life here. Did a quick 3 years in Meridian, figured out that wasn't for us. And so, let's see what else. Yeah, like I said, traveled on the road, doing construction for a while. Me and the wife, and then when our first child, Frankie, was born, we were in North Idaho, and we were kind of wondering what we were doing. Then we ended up pregnant with our second one, so we decided we needed to settle down, quit moving around in a fifth wheel. And so I moved them back home, kept traveling, and just finally got sick of not being around the family and stuff, so decided I'd bring it back to my roots here. And so now I'm working for Mayhaw Logging, and just trying to be part of the community I love. I am a volunteer firefighter here. Also ended up on the board for the Loggers Jubilee, and helping out with the music festival the last couple of years. Volunteering at the local museum, and yeah, just trying to be part of the community again. That's it, right?
Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to start out a little differently in that I am not a council native. I've only lived here half my life, 33 years. I'm Texan by birth. Grew up in the oil fields, and therefore ended up moving quite a few different places. Finished high school overseas, and then came back to Texas for my college. Got my veterinary degree from Texas A&M in 1981. Commenced practice back out in West Texas. After 11 years of practice, looking for a change of scenery, and I had never been in this part of the country before, and just came and looked, and been here ever since. It's a good place to raise my daughter. It's a good place for my grandkids to grow up, and they're all up and grown. I've practiced veterinary medicine for this community, like I say, for 33 years, and it's been my honor to do so. I don't anticipate quitting anytime soon. I was invited onto the city council in 1998 to fulfill the term of a council member who was leaving, moving out of town. Re-upped in 2001, and then in 2002, same kind of thing happened again. The seated mayor, Gary Matthews, took a position out of town, and so the council asked me to step up and fill the position, and I've been there ever since. The joke has always been either I'm doing a good job, nobody cares, or I'm the only one full enough to take the job, so whichever way it sits. We've been through a lot as a community. Hard times, COVID most recently. Prior to that, the mill closure was a major blow. We were able to turn that around and kind of make lemonade out of lemons with that one. It kind of forced us to diversify our economy. And the land and resources that we ended up with from Boise Cascade have been turned to good use. A lot of things have come forward, a lot of projects have been completed. We have a lot of projects on the drawing board. necessary to keep a community running, to keep the water, keep the faucets going, keep the toilets flushing. It's not very glamorous, but it's necessary. And I thank you for having had the opportunity to serve in this capacity for a quarter century now. And I feel like we've got a lot of things going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, both of you. We are now going to open it up for questions. So who has the first one? Don't be shy. Chloe. Yeah.
What do you think is the priority for our city moving forward in response to maintaining our culture, but also growing as necessary to keep the town alive?
What do you think is the priority for the city moving forward in keeping track of our culture?
Well, we have, the city's in the process of...
Hold it closer.
Pardon? All right. The city's in the process of revamping its comprehensive plan, which deals with all these aspects. Our engineering firm that contracts to the city is putting together a revamped plan. We had our second public presentation about it yesterday. We had all of 9 people in attendance, but they had a lot of good things to contribute to it. And the community comprehensive plan comprises the ongoing visions for how we want to shepherd our resources, how we want to maintain what's good in the community, what we can do to improve on it. It touches on infrastructure, on schools, on public health, on transportation. So it's in all aspects. We are required to maintain the comprehensive plan, and the beauty of it, the value of it, is that with this in place, as funding becomes available from the various government agencies, if we already have these plans set up and in place, it facilitates us being able to take advantage of that funding.
So, yeah, everything Bruce said I agree with. I just want to add that I think it's very important that the community is involved in a lot of things like this. Like he said, all of 9 people showed up. I didn't even know about it. So I'd like to figure out a way to be able to get this information to the public so more people can participate. I would like to, get people to actually participate so everybody is involved with the decision making and this stuff. So what's good for all of us, not just good for a few people making the big decisions.
Thank you. I saw another question there. Yes.
Why do you want to be mayor?
Why do you want to be mayor?
That's an excellent question. Like I say, it's not the most glamorous thing, and sometimes it can be pretty frustrating. You can't please all the people all the time, but I have I've set down roots in this community, and I have a personal and professional interest in seeing the community thrive. I don't want it to dry up and blow away like so many small towns can when they're faced with economic adversity. So we want to create the best conditions, and I feel that this is how I believe it's able to help.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Being a local, actually, so I am 5th generation council in Idaho and councilite, I guess you'd say. And I've seen some really good times in my life here, and I feel like we're you know, like with COVID and everything, and just the way the world's going right now, we're seeing a pretty steep decline, and I would just really like to see some unity in the community and get this ball rolling in the right direction as far as, you know, get some money coming back in, get some things to do for the kids, just make it a good, safe community that everyone can enjoy and be proud of.
Who else has a question? Yes, Jim.
Yeah, so you talked a little bit a moment ago about the community not being aware of all the things that are happening with the city council and the city. I was wondering if either one of you would be open to creating like a Facebook page or maybe some streaming your meetings on YouTube so people who can't make it there in person could watch them. Maybe we could see some of the deliberations that you go through in the, you know, like this big plan that's coming up.
Would you be open to utilizing social media, Facebook or Zoom to help?
I would not be adverse to it. The difficulty you run into is trying to keep an organized management on it. We certainly, the city maintains a website that has all of our information on it. All of the meetings are open. All of the public records are open. It's kind of, and everything is posted in the newspaper. Trying to put things out through the various social media channels can be a little haphazard, but it certainly would be a resource that would be worth looking into.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I've definitely been kicking around a few things. I think a big struggle though, especially like being involved with the music festival the last few years, it's very hard to get information to people because, you know, we tried every which way as far as marketing goes. And, you know, they either see it or they don't care. I'm not sure which one it is. And I think a big part of it is trying to get people to care again. But yeah, as far as all that goes, I would definitely like to see some streaming. You know, obviously people aren't going to be able to voice their opinion, but at least they can listen and be informed. Also, what I would like to do as far as the website goes is create a forum for a comment as well. Obviously, we probably have to be careful with that too, you know, so it's not getting out of hand like you would probably have on Facebook. So I think there's some hurdles as far as that goes, but I definitely like to see it.
Thank you. I saw another hand, I think, in the back. No? Who else has a question? Yes.
Well, I have a question about the mention that was made by our current mayor about the fact that we can come to City Hall and do our own research in the records, etc. And I have in my personal possession an 8.5 by 11 on both sides, a letter forbidding me from ever entering City Hall again. And I am threatened by the sheriff's office if I do. And I'm just looking at why is that the case when I am a law-abiding public citizen. We need to ban this nasty letter and get it off the record so I can start, and other people, going to City Hall and doing historical research that I am very interested in as a land surveyor and a museum.
I want to avoid directing this at any one person, but let's try to answer that in a broad, why would somebody possibly be banned from City Hall, under what circumstances, and how can we,
We'll answer this in broad terms. First off, warning letters have been sent out. No one has been actually banned. However, we have encountered circumstances where the city staff, after already have provided all the assistance that they are capable of, both in terms of information and what is legally permissible, reached a point where citizen inquiries have been of such frequency and repetition and redundancy that they have started to interfere with the functioning of City Hall. And it's a regrettable situation, but saying once again, we need to get back to a feeling of unity where everybody can function in a civil manner. And certainly warning off a citizen is not something we enter into lightly. In 25 years in this city government, I've only had 2 occasions where we have had to resort to that. So, it's very infrequent, and it's something that we deliberate on, and it's what we judge to be in the best interest of the continuing operation of the city at the time.
Do you want to make a comment on that? Okay, another question. Any other questions?
As mayor, how would you or are you bringing business and commerce back into the community?
How are you planning on bringing business and commerce back into the community as mayor?
Okay. We are in contact with statewide agencies that are a resource for this. We have, in the last few years, have readdressed our zoning to streamline this kind of thing. We have a more decisive zoning plat in the city. We have operated the business park out there for over 20 years now, and that has been it was designed as a business incubator, and we've had quite a few businesses run through that. It has reached the extent of its serviceability, and this is why that property has been resurveyed into individual plots, which are available for purchase for anybody who wants to come in and start up something like that. That is an industrial or commercial zone area. Outside of that, just being actively involved in state chambers of commerce and networking with other cities, basically looking for funding sources. Coming back, COVID put a real dent in that, as I'm sure you're aware, and coming back from that has been quite difficult.
As far as Mayor Bruce just said, I think that the current council and the current mayor are on track as far as that goes. What I would have to add to it would just be getting a more inviting and welcome community to draw those businesses in. And one small way that I would like to do that is I'm going to organize a spring and fall cleanup, and just all volunteers. And it's going to be something that we do everything downtown, but also what I'd like to do is basically residents that can't physically do some of the work they need to do around their place, they'll be able to basically write in and say, I would like this, and basically, depending on how big of a crowd we can get drummed up, try to just take care of those things. But yeah, more inviting community, and I'd like to see things cleaned up a little bit.
Thank you. Who else has a question? Saw another one. Yes.
How can we get the city involved with school spirit? We have the #1 football team in the state right now, and if it goes down, there you can't. Nobody's supporting the school, the sports teams.
How do we get the city involved in school spirit?
Yeah. Other than encouraging the community to take part, we and indirectly through our support of recreational efforts whenever we can find funding to help. We're happy to channel it that direction. As Mr. Henderson noted, that funding can be a little short these days, but I would like to see the city partner with the schools more directly, perhaps having representatives exchange back and forth between the school and the city as kind of a liaison to keep a little closer contact as to what's going on and how we can help.
It's a good question. How do you get anybody interested in anything these days? You know, it's pretty sad. Like when we were in school, you know, basketball, football, whatever it was, there was always a crowd. There was always a big crowd. You know, everyone had their school spirit about them, and it was awesome. And I would definitely like to see it come back to that. I mean, I feel like half the time we're lucky to have the kids' parents at the games. So I don't have that answer, but I would definitely like to look into it.
About Friday, right? About Friday.
Yes, big game Friday.
In the back, yes.
Me.
Dave.
We talked about the water project. That cost several $1 million. And then a few years ago, I believe the sewer wastewater was upgraded or fixed. And that was several $1 million. That's a lot of debt for the city. How do you manage that, but also some information on the water project too?
You talk about the water project and especially the debt that the city is accumulating for the water and sewer project.
Okay, we've been, unfortunately, age of the infrastructure has caught up to us. For a lot of years, there were Band-Aids put on these things, and we finally had to buckle down and hit them head on. The sewer project a number of years back, our sewer treatment plan had reached the point where we could no longer comply with the ever-changing regulations coming down from the state. We were able to kind of shift and test things for a while, and then finally got to a point that we had to go ahead and upgrade the whole system. The whole project ran $7.5 million. We were able to acquire grant funding, $5.5 million of that. So that chunk is not borne by the taxpayers. The remainder we have on a 20-year, very low-interest loan. Government agencies. So what we're left with is a completely upgraded sewage collection system, and we have a sewer treatment plan that is an ultraviolet treatment. It's cutting edge, and it's something that can carry us 40, 50 years into the future. By the same token, we're looking at the same thing with our water system. A lot of parts of the system are very old and are no longer compliant with regulations. This is one thing we're constantly facing, is that we're always being hit with more and more stringent regulations in terms of water testing and the type of infrastructure that we're required to maintain. We're having to pull all galvanized piping out because of its content. So it's mandated by the state that this all be replaced. So we have a very good engineering company that we've been working with for a lot of years, and they put together a whole comprehensive plan by which we will be replacing the necessary piping. We are adding a booster station in so that the water pressure is consistent throughout town, eliminating a lot of the dead-end water lines. Everything's going to be on a loop. We're having to replace the oldest of the water tanks up there on the hillside, the concrete tank. It dates back to the 50s, and it's once again, it's about worn out and it's no longer compliant. So we had to kind of take it in the teeth to get this whole thing done. Once again, we have a lot of grant funding covering it, but we also are having to take out a long-term loan. This is on a, once again, a very low interest rate. We had to raise rates here initially because one of the requirements of the loan is that we put together and maintain a reserve that will cover the loan payments, and so we had to go ahead and raise it to where we can do that. By virtue of that, though, since the whole system is going to be upgraded, we shouldn't have to institute any further rate hikes other than what's necessary to keep up with inflation changes.
I'll just say, you know, I don't want to speak to how we got to this point, but we're lucky as far as securing everything. The work's going to get done. We're not going to have to rely on potable water stations on every corner block for drinking and showering water. You know, it's something that needed to happen. They made it happen. Kind of sucks, you know, to get hit in the wall that way, but it's where we're at. We need it.
Thank you. Yes, Stephen.
So I have a statement and then questions. So our community is facing the same thing that many other small communities across our country are facing. We've got really old, deteriorated infrastructure. We've also got an aging population. All the baby boomers, we're all aging. And so our community is gray-haired people. And we've got young people that want to be here. They want to be involved. They want to live here. They want the lifestyle that we have all had. We need to make that happen on our watch while we're still here because we want our kids, our grandkids to have what we have. And I guess I'd like to ask each of you, number one, how would you feel about going forward, either of you as mayor, maybe having a every 6-month town hall where you're informative, you're educating the public on what it takes to keep our community going. It's not just living here cheap. Older people are concerned about the water rates because if you live on Social Security, $20 is a hell of a lot of money. Younger people want you to justify it. They don't understand how we got here. And they don't understand how all of that works. And I'm just wondering if going forward, would either of you be open to that where, let's just say every 6 months, we do something like what we're doing right now. You come out and present us with, what are the projects? What do we need to do going forward? What are your thoughts? Who in our community might have expertise if they're willing to volunteer to help us get through this, where we're not relying on engineers that are from Boise who laugh at us for not having sidewalks and criticize our community, but yet they draw a paycheck from us. What about something like that going forward where we're all more involved and everybody can get an input in a respectful manner, but that befits, you know, an appropriate atmosphere for this small community that is the reason we all live here?
So
what are your thoughts on
that?
that?
Down a bit, it was how do you feel about doing routine town halls in the future and inviting the community and hearing their requests?
I think it would be an excellent idea because it's become quite obvious that communication's been a problem. Disseminating the information out there has been a problem. You know, we have open meetings on everything, but it's not, you know, the council chamber's not that big.
It's not the same.
It would be good to have something predictable that everybody who's interested could come out to. And like I say, it's become, especially recently, it's become obvious that we haven't been getting the information out there. So I think that's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely an excellent idea. From the start of this whole thing with me, it's not about me, it's about you guys. So somebody needs to represent the community, and the community needs to be involved. And I guess the biggest thing is we just need to figure out where the barrier is between the information coming out and the people absorbing the information. Because it's not like they're not at all putting it out. I mean, things are getting put out. And I think a lot of folks in this town aren't looking for it. And the ones that are probably might have a bit of a hard time finding it, so we need to make it easier to find. But we really just need to try to pique the interests of everyone in the community. And yeah, if we had an interest in that, absolutely, whatever it takes.
Thank you.
Who else? Don't be shy, raise your hand. We all have questions burning inside. Is that all?
I have one more.
One more.
Since this has turned into the Tina show for the last 5 minutes. Have any of you physically gone out and looked at the new improvements to the airport, all the upgrades that have been done? I know that's a recent project that's just about due to completion. My husband and I went out and looked, and it's amazing.
Have either of you physically been out to look at the new improvements to the airport?
This past Sunday, as a matter of fact, on a walk, because I am currently in that mayor's walking challenge that Blue Cross of Idaho puts out every year. And if I make 10,000 steps a day for the month of October, we get some money that the city can turn around and give to recreational purposes, and we've been doing this for several years. Well, on one of my lengthier walks, I found myself out at the airport, and they have done a wonderful job. We've got complete resurface out there. We're fortunate that this pretty much all came from government funding, from the State Aeronautics Board and from the FAA. None of it came out of taxpayer money. But what this enables us to do, besides the recreational and commercial air traffic that it can bring in, and that is growing. We have 13 based aircraft out there right now, but it's also an access point for emergency medical evacuation when the weather's too bad for helicopters to come in, fixed wing aircraft to come in there. During fire season, the Forest Service bases a lot of its airborne operations out there too. So it's an asset to the community. This latest project enabled us to expand the base out there for the addition of additional hangars, and so we have the potential for further growth.
Yeah, so I attended the city council meeting last week, and I went out afterwards. We saw some pictures in the council meeting, and then I drove out, kind of did a drive-by. You know, you're not really allowed to just go walk out on the airstrip and stuff, but from what I could tell, that it looked good, and I really, I was a big fan of them taking all that excess material and putting it out for future expansion of hangars. So, yeah, it looked great.
Well, I think that is, you know, that airport being, all of that money invested in the airport, that is a kind of a portent of things to come for our community. And I think we should all look at that and really think about now, what do we do next? Because that's huge. And that tells you we've got a lot coming our way, whether we like it or not. That's a big project, a lot of money that was invested in our community. Not necessarily for the good of our community, but to bring a lot to our community on top of that.
Excellent point, yes. Who else has a question before we wrap things up for the night? Shy. Yes.
What legacy do you want to leave behind after you finish yours there?
What legacy do you want to leave behind?
Never get it done.
Awesome, run, and toilets and flush. The basics, and, you know, streets that people can safely walk down. That was, I don't know how many of you remember back where we put the alternate route in, the bypass, call it what it is, but that was a cooperative between the city and ITV. They wanted to streamline the highway traffic flow. We wanted to get the big trucks off of our main street and away from our schools. So we did some dealing, and they put their bypass in, and in return, we got a complete overhaul of the downtown corridor, repaving, curb, gutter, sidewalks, street lighting. So now kids don't have to walk on the shoulder of the highway to school, and so it's become a much more safe thing.
Yeah. I don't know much about legacies. I don't know much about that, but I'm not looking for anything here for myself. I mean, you know, my biggest thing is to see our community thrive like it has in the past. Like to see our kids get a little smart. But I would like to see everything, just, you know, all around improvements everywhere we can. Try to make the biggest percentage of folks around here happy and proud to be living in council.
I have a comment.
Yeah.
I like what's going on here, and I have been trying to get this old dog with an old bone to retire for years from city council. I don't know what's going to happen during this, but my question to you is, if it works out to where he stays, would you please join city council and learn all you can to keep him out the next 4 years? I really mean it.
Are you interested in joining the city council if you do not win this race?
I'm actually just interested to help wherever I can. So, yeah,
I just love your ideas. I think it would be a wonderful mesh.
Yeah, so
Learn what you can and then keep him out so
Right.
he'll retire.
I appreciate it, and that's exactly it. I have a ton to learn. You know, I've never done anything like this before. I'll be the first to admit that, you know, I'm definitely in uncharted waters. So, regardless of how it works out, I'm going to be learning.
I
And
think this would be a really good movement, so I'm
appreciate
gonna
it.
go for it.
I'm not going anywhere. So.
Neither is he other.
Well, thank you very much. Unless anyone else has a burning question, I think we're going to wrap that up for the evening. Let's give her a round of applause.
Yeah, I just want to thank the candidates, and I probably didn't brief them on what was going to tonight, but I kind of came in to hear that night. Thank you guys, I really do appreciate your help. I think it's great we have a choice here in council, you know, that's the best idea rise to the top, it's democracy. And, yeah, I just appreciate what you're putting out, and being informed, and thanks to the candidates, and asking questions, coming in, to try to help. Thanks.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, senior citizen.
Gray hairs, what's that?
I'm working on a flashlight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll keep you posted.